The best time to catch up is now. Catch up sessions.
Welcome back. This is catch up sessions. Why does it always have to have a motorbike passing by whenever I start? I guess it's going to be a thing because we are on the road yet again. As I mentioned in the previous episode, it's going to be a lot of catching up on my thoughts, flow version. Meaning to say, I am just letting it all out, unscripted, and just going at it as my thought sort of churns out, because my processing style is actually talking it out with someone. And what better way to do that, because you don't always have someone, but to have you guys listening in as I talk it out via this podcast. It's 2024, and again, referencing back to my wrap up for 2023 weekend project, still on the unlearning bad habits. I just wanted to zoom in on that a bit more. So it actually came from, or was inspired by, a good friend of mine. His name is Andy Lau, now based in Taiwan, Singaporean, Chinese, and shared with me his own unlearning experience. I actually did not ask his permission. Maybe I should, but I'll do that before I release this. But in a nutshell, without so much detail, he was out and about finding himself wanting to unlearn things, basically. And you know how you hear that all the time? It's so much more difficult to unlearn things that you're used to, or how it's always been done before. But it is necessary so that you can insert new things, new ways of doing things, or perhaps a new perspective. But the most difficult thing is, how do you actually go about the process of unlearning? You see, learning is easy. You get the idea, depends on your learning style. Are you experiential? Do you work well with just watching other people do it, and repetition, practice? That whole bit is the learning piece. But there's no guideline that's broadly available in how to unlearn. Because what will you do? Do things backwards? Or sort of write it on a piece of paper and cast it out, throw it in a pit of fire? I don't think that will work. But if it does, and you've tried, I'm happy to hear your version of the story. Going back to Andy's experience, though, while he was in this, solo soul searching, again with the intent also to really get that unlearning done, it was one uneventful day where he was just lying down and about. I think it was in his hostel with nothing to do. In fact, he had a book in his hand because he still wanted to be sort of productive, but he ended up dozing off the whole afternoon, and then waking up at the end of that day realizing, one, it is okay not to be productive all the time. I suppose that is totally against the mindset, and I would assume that's what he learned in the Singaporean system, that you always kind of have to deliver at a certain cadence, and you do things in a certain way, in certain frequencies. But then one day of downtime actually gave him this aha moment that made him realize, nope, you don't need to be productive all the time. So I am now in search of my own aha unlearning moment. Mine is not about productivity, but the bad habit or the bad characteristic that I want to unlearn is my people pleasing tendencies. Yes. Coming clean with that, I am totally a people pleaser. I think it runs in the family. I don't know if my family members are willing to admit and agree to that. But that is manifested in so many ways, in big and small things. If you, for example, offer any sort of sale item, I shouldn't be saying this, but whatever. If you sell insurance, and I know it's something that I can afford, I almost always say yes. If you invite me to something and have zero anything in my calendar, whether or not I will truly enjoy this event or activity, I'm there. If you tell me that we all should apply or join in, I will most likely fill out that sheet of paper too. All that to say, because one, I can't say no, and two, I don't want to disappoint other people. Now, I'm sure there's so much more layers to that, but my specific application point that I'm trying to share with you in this session is all about me making decisions so that other people will be pleased with me. I don't want to have to go through how that all evolved into what it is, but I'm also not sure if that is the right step so that I can unlearn it. But maybe just putting it out there to start then will make me become a bit more aware when I am doing it again. So a recent application point is probably not something I can share broadly now, but in maybe blurred descriptions, big decisions in life-changing, life-altering decisions. You know, you have your pros and cons list that suits you, your needs, maybe your family's needs, and how that impacts them and your immediate relationships. I don't know why for the life of me I consider, or a big part of my decision making is this thing called prestige, or maybe some would call it clout, or in other words, how people will perceive me should I go for one decision or go for this one thing. And I realize now that's all because I'm such a people pleaser. If I didn't have that in my list of considerations, for sure the rest will still be pretty sufficient to make a sound and highly impactful positive decision, because I would still think about myself and my impact on my family, my friends, and relationships, but not what the rest of the world thinks of me during that time. So how that can work for or against you is highly dependent on the amount of noise and the loudness of the voices that I guess for me, I allow myself to be influenced by. Which is because I know I'm that kind of person. While I am still in the process of unlearning, I should really, really be careful who I seek counsel from, because that can sway the direction of my life big time. And I'm sharing to you something about big life decisions, but I also mentioned earlier how that's also very relevant in the small daily decisions in my life, which adds up because everything that we do occupies or is killing time. I want to say killing. It is basically accumulating, and you can look back to then be using that amount of time of bad decisions, quote unquote, because again, they're done not with the right set of priorities and considerations into something that will be really, truly be meaningful to you and me. So yes, again, maybe step one, if there's such a thing, in the unlearning of bad habits, is to admit that you have the bad habit, make it public, make it known. I don't know what step 2 is exactly, but from here on, I vow inevitably to be a bit more self-aware should I be falling into that trap again whenever I do something, try to do something. And it starts today, this week, in my choices on how to spend my weeknights. Will I do it because it's the right thing to do for me in the moment, or is it because there's pressure from friends or from other people? My demeanor and the way I interact with people, am I doing it out of the goodness of my heart and the outpouring of what I truly feel, or is it because I know people are looking and I want to be able to make people happy, quote unquote? Now, I just want to balance this off by saying, of course, you do the thing that's right, and that more often than not do please people. But if I'm doing it for the latter and not making that as the great consequence of doing good, then it's just I would say it's starting from an ill, I don't know what to call it exactly now. It's the desire for the outcome does not justify all of the action. Or maybe another way to put it is the primary objective should first be to do what's right versus making people happy about doing what's right. Yeah, that's a lot of blurb. I wish I could have articulated it properly, but again, this is what it is. It's just a lot of information flow that I want to be able to put out there, because what I think the brain does after is it then allows me to arrange everything that I shared out. It's probably not super useful for you as a listener, but I hope it at least does some like lighting up, or you can use it as a thought starter of sorts in your own journey for unlearning bad habits. If you're a people pleaser like me, by all means let me know how we can both go through it and escape unscathed, and hopefully be making better decisions for the things that truly matter. Maybe that's what we should call it, because at the end of the day, especially on your deathbed, or when people are talking about you, yes, it would be great that you're the kind person who did something for their lives. But if you are doing all of that just because of that, I mean, is that even the true and purposeful intent of what God has called you to do in the first place? Again, I just want to balance it off and reiterate that it's not so much that you'll start doing things out of selfishness and just thinking about myself. It's not that at all, but it's just making sure that the purpose and objective is right, whether people will be happy about it or not. Again, that is the consequence of the right decision, quote unquote. Yeah, and there you go, another catch up thoughts. I should probably change the title to Catch Up Conversations with Myself. My name is Mark Laguna, and if you want more, please do come back and let the world know how we can all share into the random musings and ramblings here on Catch Up Sessions. It's on Instagram. We post every now and then. You can also catch the previous seasons if that interests you more. But for now, I have to give you a big virtual hug, voice hug, like a voice note. And always do take it easy. Catch you later. Bye for now.